been around for a long, long.
Wash your hands, don't touch your face, wipe things down, clean up your space. When you cough and sneeze, do responsibly. If you feel you're getting ill, isolate at home and chill. No, you're not alone. Please pick up your phone and call 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Health 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Community Radio Station will provide you with more information. Say Rainier Avenue Radio. Your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio.
This is Big Poppy, host of Jazz from the Cabinets. Join me each week for a listening tour of the first century of jazz, an eclectic mix of Dixieland, big band, cool jazz, bebop, contemporary jazz, world jazz, all jazz in all forms. That's Jazz from the Cabinets with Big Poppy on Rainier Avenue Radio, streaming worldwide on RainierAvenueRadio.world.
Love food? Here's some storage tips to keep it fresh longer. Store cut fruits and vegetables in the fridge. Place in reusable containers. Keep bread in the freezer for longer storage. 40% of food in the U.S. goes uneaten. Save money, save food, save the planet. Visit Seattle Public Utilities for more tips.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Don't forget to log on www.RainierAvenueRadio.world.
It's 7 o'clock, and you know what time it is. It's time for your favorite sports show, LidLine Sports. Hit it. Welcome to LidLine Sports right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I'm your boy Pep, and I got my man who don't take no mess. He is Otis. Uh-oh, what's happening, O?
What's happening, Peps? How are you doing?
I'm good. Remember how last week I was all hyped up?
Yeah. Now
Yeah, I was
you're
hyped up because you was in the studio, man.
So that's what
You're not here, but I'm still hyped up because you know, we got the Olympics that are completed now, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about there. And of course, NFL's kicked off the preseason. So I'm definitely happy about that. And then the Mariners. Well, we kind of had a love-hate going on this week with the Mariners. And so we're going to get to some of that as well. So it's good to be here on this fabulous Monday. And you're taking a swig. Nice. I like it. What's in there? What you got?
Some just sparkling iced water, man.
Yeah.
Water
Nice.
diet only for me.
Yeah. Well, how was your weekend, bro?
It's good. And, you know, I want to dedicate this episode to my late grandfather that just passed. You know, I told you that I was going to be gone in Arizona for his funeral. It was a really good ceremony, like I told you, 91 years. So it was more of a, you know, getting our family together to celebrate him. So I definitely wanted to dedicate this episode to Jerry Dorsey III. Love you, Grandpa.
Awesome. And we better come with the fire then. We can't be messing around.
Definitely.
Right? I mean, that man had 9 decades, man. And we want to honor every single one of those with a good show. So,
and it was great because he was a big Mariners fan, so that's how I really got into the Mariners. So,
all right, good. Well, good. We got some positive stuff about them, so that's going to be good. So, Jerry Dorsey III, this is for you, my brother. So, the Olympics are done, and not without a little controversy towards the end, and we'll get into some of that in a second. But the U.S. men and women basketball both got gold, which is always cool. The women's, what was it, the 400-meter relay?
Yep.
Yep, they achieved gold. So we had a lot of great moments here. You know, a lot of tear-jerk moments, joyous, tear-worthy, thrilling, heartbreaking, all at once. And you know what? We wouldn't have it any other way, right? I mean, that's what the Olympics is all about, the fabulous competition, everybody from each country. We have some countries that had never medaled before get medals. We've had some, you know, like the one in St. Lucia got their first gold ever. So that was good to see. You know, the U.S. can't win everything, right? But we still got the most medals, 126, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. We had 40 golds, which tied with China.
Which is dope, which is really, like I said, that's cool to see that seeing China match USA in the gold department, because just like you said, I mean, as much as this is a world event, the USA does usually dominate, and they did in a sense with the 126 medals, but like I said, I think that's pretty cool to see, you know, China sitting right up at top of their just as many gold as the USA.
Yes. So, and then we had like, I think 42 silver and 44 bronze. So we did a pretty good job representing the USA over in Europe. But I did mention there's a little bit of controversy, and I'm sure you've heard that Jordan Childs got her bronze medal taken away. I don't want to get into the long drawn out reason, just to say, suffice it to say that the short version is after her floor event, that when the scoring came out, she scored a 13.66, which would have put her in 5th place. But however, U.S., you have 1 minute. Let's say this: you have 1 minute after the scoring is announced or put up on the board to contest the score. The score. And so the U.S. did contest it, and then after deliberation, indeed, they made the change, and it brought her up to 13.76, which gave her the bronze medal. However, Romania came back and protested that, saying that, like I said, like I mentioned, you have 1 minute in order to protest. Well, they were saying that the U.S. was 4 seconds late in that protest. So they did some review. They found that to be accurate. So they took away the bronze medal. Now, the good thing is Flavor Flav, right, has offered a bronze clock for Jordan Childs. It's funny, yes, but let's think about Flavor Flav for a minute. You know, that's a really humanitarian, beautiful thing to do, right? For him to do that and to offer that. And, you know, I want to say him and Snoop Dogg out there representing the U.S. really showed themselves well, right? They didn't embarrass themselves, or, you know, doing these things silly. They were straight up honorable there. So yeah. I appreciate that, and I like it. It's good for hip hop, right? For the reputation, and so yeah, that was a good thing. So having said that about the bronze and the decision, did you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I the last news that I did see is that the Olympics are not going to return her bronze medal as of this moment, but it does sound like the USA Gymnastic is going to take this to the courts. So it's far from over, because there was proof that they did appeal the score in time. Okay. So there was actually proof. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all unfolds. I didn't get to see the performance or anything.
Right.
But yeah, I'm so new and gray behind the ears when it comes to gymnastics, because I didn't know that once your score is put out that you can contest it. I did not know that. And then
neither did I.
Back to even just your point though about Snoop Dogg and Flavor Flav. it was just so cool to see those guys like being the unofficial hosts of the Olympics for the Americans and just being everywhere. And I really think it helped this. I think it said that this was the most viewed Olympics. And it was by far most viewed than the Tokyo Olympics, even though the Tokyo Olympics did have some other restrictions that they were dealing with. But
they got, we said it last week. Tokyo kind of got jobbed because of the COVID. Yeah. And that really ruined it for them, unfortunately. So,
but this Olympics had everything. It had the dramatics effect. It was a little controversial. It was fun. It was competitive. It was just everything that you can ask for as a fan basis. So yes, some of the controversial was negative, some was positive. Just like I said. So, but with all that,
isn't that always the case with the Olympics, right?
Exactly.
And we'll probably expect no less when they come to LA in 2028.
and this is also, like we always say, this era is just so much different than any other time when it comes to social media, being able to see things from behind the scenes and there's cameras just everywhere now. So what's going on outside of just like what's happening in competition. You see kind of how these guys are having fun and living their lives outside of that. And I think it's a really cool experience for fans to be able to get in, keep in touch on a personal level with their fans. But this last 2 weekends have been nothing short of amazing with the track and field. We know we had a lot going on with that with Noah Lyles.
Right. And there was another kind of I wouldn't call it a controversy, but I'd say it's some drama. I don't remember who it was, but there was a tie for gold in what was it? Was it the high jump or one of the jumps?
I don't know. I didn't hear about this one.
Okay, so there was a tie, and they wanted to give both golds, right? But the U.S. Contestant said, "No, I want to jump off."
Okay.
Well, guess what? He lost. So instead of having a gold, he got silver. So,
and I'm okay with that. I don't
have a problem with it. You know, I wish he, hindsight, you kind of wish like, just take the gold, even if it's shared. So what? That means you're still good enough to be up there. But I also understand that it's a competition, right? And he wants to prove that he's the best, and you can't fault him for that. So I don't want him to, I hope he doesn't get too much flack. He's going to get a little bit, of course, because, there's always going to be there's people on both sides, right? So
as long as when that competition ended, that he is okay with living with that result, then I'm okay with that too. If he was willing to take that risk because he wanted to be number one and only number one, and this is what we compete for, I'm okay with that. And I think he was too. I think he was going to live with those results too. So that's super.
Well, you have to, right? Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be bold enough to say, you know what, I want to jump off, then you better live with what you're going to be putting up with.
So Pep, what is your thoughts? And I brought up Noah Lyles. He had a couple races over the past weekend. Ran the 100-meter, won that in the photo finish, and we talked about that. But then turned around, he ran his 200-meter final, which a lot of people say is his best.
And I missed that
event. So I saw that one.
Okay.
I forget who won first, but it was clear. It was a clear race this time. It wasn't even a close finish. And after the results, Noah Lyles had came out and said that he had COVID, and that he ran with 100 plus degree fever. So I don't know. I'm a little skeptical, not with him saying that he had COVID, but I guess what makes Noah Lyles notorious outside of how good he really is at the sport, but he likes to talk a lot. And there's a responsibility if you're going to be that guy. If you're going to talk it, you got to back it, but you also got to understand when you talk it and you do lose, there can't be any excuse on your end.
No,
you got to take what's coming your way. So when I heard out of his mouth, it wasn't out of anybody else, that he said he had COVID, it rubbed me the wrong way, because even before that event happened, he was running up, jumping around, getting the crowd going, And he already had said before, after he had won 100 meters, that he was going to win the 200 meters. So now that came out, it rubbed me wrong. As a competitor, and like I said, when you're that guy who is, like I said, notorious, and you are the face of track and field, a lot of it is to do with also, yes, of course, with what you do on the track, but you're popular because, yeah, you're a trash talker. And like I said, I'm not mad at that because he backs it up 95% of the time, 98%.
Right. And that's your money, man.
Exactly.
Publicity.
But I
Marketing.
I would have wished that, after he had lost that 200 meters, that he would have just came out gracefully and gave his, which he did, gave his congratulations to number one. But I wish he kind of would have just kept it at that instead of coming back and saying, I had COVID, I was 100 plus degrees, and which, like I said, that was the case. That means you just come back. We make sure that you're healthy next time you're running, and we get it there. But like I said, it comes with great responsibility. You're a trash talker. And so that's why a lot of people already kind of, are on the fence about how they feel about Noah Lyles is because of that. So, of course, Pep, when it came out that he had COVID, nobody didn't want to hear it. And it sucks because he's an American and we want to see him succeed. Mm-hmm. So, just from my opinion, how did you feel about that?
Well, I love everything you said. I mean, I can't dispute any of that. Here's my thing. If you have COVID and you're sick, why are you out there running?
Exactly.
I mean, that's no excuse. Even if you did have COVID, then you shouldn't have been running. You got COVID and you're out there running, you out there hanging with all those people, then what are you doing? Right? You're not masked up, right? So what are you doing? So I don't like that, for one thing. And here's what I think, another thing I don't like. I get that the 100-meter race is supposed to be the fastest man type deal, but was he really? Let's think about it. All he did was lean better. He ran a smarter race, not a faster race. Okay, let's get that clear.
Good point.
In my point. And another thing, you got other races to race after that, right? So you can't consider him the fastest man because Shane Thompson was right there with him, right? Except for that point whatever millisecond.
0.00001.
I mean, come on, that ain't the fastest man. The fastest man would be if he had the lead like the fast woman, because she was clearly the fastest that time.
Good
right?
point.
If he ran that kind of race, then yeah, I would give it to him. Mm-hmm. So I don't like that. I don't, if it's that close, I don't like that moniker. He's the fastest man, and people try to argue with me on Facebook. But what happened after he ran the next race? As you see, he lost. So you're the fastest man, but then you're going to lose the next race? Yeah, that's comical to me, right? But hey, whatever. But, bro, I agree with everything you said. What he should have done, which I would have preferred, since he lost the race, say, oh, man, I lost this race. Bam, that's it. Don't mention COVID. Don't mention temperature or whatever, because you shouldn't have been out there if you got COVID and you're running a race, and now you're going to be infecting other people. That's the way I look at it. So
this is bigger than track if you have COVID.
Absolutely. Bro, we're talking about lives and health.
Mm-hmm.
And you out there, possibly infecting people, and you're going to talk about, well, I had COVID. What?
And then there was another article that came out about Noah Lyles. I think it was about a year ago, but the article... that came back out about how Anthony Edwards had an event for Adidas about him unveiling his signature shoe. Mm-hmm. And, Noah Lyles, once again, just made it about him. Is why, as me being an Adidas athlete, and once again, he gave his shout outs to Anthony Edwards, him being an amazing player, but he was like, why is this guy pretty much getting all this glory and signature shoe, and he hasn't even won an NBA championship? And it's like, why can't you just want to see somebody outside of you do great? Or why does it always have to be about just you? Mm-hmm. And we know about the comments about the NBA champions and all that. And it's like I said, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with if you are going to talk like that. It just comes with a lot of responsibility. And to me, it's really unresponsible sometimes when he's saying things. and that nature. And even when he said that about the world champions talk with basketball, we all know that the NBA is the best league in the world. So whoever usually is the NBA champion is probably, and just like you said, by far the best team in the world. So yes, it may not be against other world teams, but the USA just came and did what they did also in the Olympics. But even though it was a little closer, but yes, I don't know. I just, like I said, it's just some things he says is just really unresponsible, and I don't know how he is personally, but he seems like a guy that, for me, I don't know if I could be cool with that guy if that's how he is off the track. But wonderful or elite track runner, and I hope nothing but the best for him moving forward, for sure.
Well, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Okay, we all know this. This is not new. And here's my beef. My beef is somebody out there is searching. Now, this was a year ago, right? Mm-hmm. Now, had Noah Lyles not been who he is and what he's been doing, nobody would ever mention this. This would not be in the news at all. This was a year ago. Now we're bringing this up. We're bringing this up because he, won, and now he's complaining, and now everybody was saying, "Oh, let's find some more dirt on him." That's what they did, and they found it. Look, if you got dirt, they're gonna find it. So you got to be careful when you're out there. If you're a celebrity or an athlete, you must be careful what you say and do. And it's sad to say that, but you have to, because whatever dirt you've done or whatever opinion you had 5, 10, 15 years ago, it's going to come out at the most inopportune time. And that's exactly what's happened here. So to me, this was a witch hunt. I'm not blaming Noah Lyles this time because, look, that was a year ago. Nobody talked about it then. So why are we discussing it now?
Okay.
It's a witch hunt. So they're just trying to find stuff. And they did. And it happens every time, a lot.
And speaking on USA basketball, just like you said, you mentioned both won gold. Pep, on the men's side, those were two really good games in the semifinals between USA and Serbia. The USA got down by as much as 17 against Serbia, who I did think Serbia was one of the very few teams that can compete with the U.S. regardless of them losing to them.
And they did.
Once in just a friendly match, and then again in bracket or in pool play. So it wasn't surprising to turn around in that semifinal game that it was going to be close, because they're a really good team. We talked about this before, Pep. Those guys, including Nikola Jokic, have played together probably since they were 14, 15 years old. At some point in their careers, they played together. But we also did say, too, that as bad as Steph Curry was shooting, that he was going to have a game, and it came. It was much needed I think he had 34 points against Serbia. He came alive. And just to add to just the many things he has on his resume, or the highlights and the defining moments, the game against Serbia, and then if anybody didn't get to watch France and the USA gold medal game, Team USA was pretty much on cruise mode. And so maybe the last 6-7 minutes of that game, France got down to 3, and it was a back and forth flare. And then 3-4 minutes left, Steph Curry did it again and just went bonkers from the 3-point line. And man, I will say that was one of the funnest just basketball games both of those two games I've been able to see. And it was just really cool to see Steph, KD, and LeBron take the floor for the first time ever. And it was just really dope to see Steph have those moments. I don't know how you feel about it, but I do feel bad for Jason Tatum, and that he didn't get to play much in this Olympics. But for that team, that was a really good team. And I know Pep said that the world is catching up, and maybe that the USA lose. I have nothing but respect for the Serbias, the Frances, and they have made it known that they have some really good basketball players, even though we know some of them already because they're doing it at the NBA level. But as a team, they're starting to find depth, and they're doing it the right way. And I think 2028, 2032, there are going to be some really good battles, just like we've seen against the USA.
Here's the deal. The USA has a target on its back in basketball, on both the men and the women's side. And so if we take that seriously, we'll be fine. If
That's a good point.
just come in matter-of-factly because we're NBA, WNBA, whatever, nonchalant, or we'll turn it on and off, they're going to be trouble.
That's a good point.
And we saw some of that. Steph Curry is a money player. He's a great player, absolutely. But other great players are great too, such as Tyrese Halliburton. He's a great player. Jason Tatum, they're great players. We know this. But they're great players Wednesday night at Minnesota. They'll get 30 or 40 points. But your money player is going to get 40, 20, shoot 11 for 15, right? When it counts, the playoffs, in the NBA championship. Steph Curry's proven. He's already done that. So nobody should have been surprised at what we saw in the Olympics. Yeah, he wasn't shooting well early in the Olympics, but those weren't money games, folks. Those are just your regular Thursday night at Sacramento games. Once it got to money time, that's when the guys who are the money player is going to show up. And that's what he did every time. Now, as far as Jason Tatum is concerned, he's the NBA champion, the best player on the Celtics, arguably. You can say Jaylen Brown if you want to, and I'm not going to fight you. The problem is matchups in the Olympics. International play is different than what you're going to see in the NBA as far as, and then plus on the team that you're on. You got a team of all-stars on this team of Olympians. And I don't care, all 1 through 12 or 14, however many players they have, are all elite. But there's like I said, the money players, KD, LeBron, Steph.
Yep.
Yeah, those are your three. Those are the money guys, right? And so Tatum can be that. He's just not that yet. And he will. I'm sure in 2028, he might be the guy. In 2028.
He was in 2021. So, yeah,
that's 4 years from now. He's going to be in his prime. Because look, remember, he's only 25 right now. In 4 years, he's still going to be in his 20s. So listen, don't worry. Who should be worried is the other teams, international. Like, man, if he's good now, how good is he going to be then? Then, of course, Jaylen Brown is probably going to be on that team, right? More than likely. And then, of course, there could be some guys. There could be Cooper Flag, right?
Oh, there's a name in your backyard that I think I've heard that he was getting consideration to even be on the 24 team in Paulo Banchero. So exactly. I'm very expecting.
Plus, we're going to be home. This is going to be a home field advantage. For us. So I'm not concerned at all. I feel bad for Tatum because look, when you're playing on the Olympic squad, you want to show out in front of your home country, right? And plus, he's got a son that's like there with him all the time, right? So he wants to do good for him, right? And others in his family. So yeah, I get that because it's personal, but he will find redemption. I'm confident of that. He will redeem himself in 2028, and it starts next season. You think Boston was lighting it up this past season? Yeah, well, you better watch out this next coming season because he's going to be coming like a house of fire. Him and Brown. They both going to have chips on their shoulder.
His only issue, I think, in the Olympics was just is carving a role, and he did not make a three at all. So you wanted Jason to be like that floor spreader for all those other guys and the slasher. He just wasn't making shots, and there's other guys that were, and it just so happened you're playing around other elite guys, and just
everybody can't score.
Yeah,
right? You can't,
exactly.
Look, we know he can get 30 every night. We know that, but we already got that. KD, I mean, come on, man. You listen. If KD's rolling, you just got to watch and cheer him on. Yeah. And then, of course, we saw what Steph can do, and even Embiid, he was starting to get it going.
And even guys like Devin,
you just gotta learn your role when you're in an all-star team. You gotta get in where you fit in best. And if you're a superstar player, sometimes you have to check your ego and do something else to make your team better or make sure that they win.
And that's what Steve Kerr said about Devin Booker, that he bought into his role. He was an unsung hero of this team. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Look, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to get into some NFL preseason, and we're going to talk about the Mariners in their past week. So stay right with us. We'll be right back.
Here with the Rainier Avenue Radio Traffic Update. You can listen to us in your car 24/7 anytime by downloading the free TuneIn app. Once you do, search Rainier Avenue Radio. And remember, do not curse out your fellow drivers. This has been your Rainier Avenue Radio Traffic Update. Did you know that there's an updated COVID-19 booster that protects you even more than the original vaccines? Even if you got the first vaccinations, now it's time to get this new updated booster shot. It's especially important for adults 50 and over and people with a compromised immune system. Even though you may not hear about people catching COVID as often, each week in King County, some people even end up in the hospital because of it. So check with your loved ones and make sure they've gotten an updated booster. For more information on where to get a COVID vaccine, including free vaccination resources, visit kingcounty.gov/vaccines. kingcounty.gov/vaccines.
1, 2, get down. What's up, big and little homies? This is Masvita Maraire, host of Seattle Sports Weekly on Rainier Avenue Radio World, your one-stop shop for Seattle sports. We cover preps, we cover college, we cover pro, we cover it all. Huskies, Mariners, Seahawks, Garfield, South, Roosevelt, Metro, King County. This is where you want to listen to for all the sports that's happening in Seattle. Seattle Sports Weekly on Rainier Avenue Radio World.
What's going on, world? It's your boy OG Mambo.
And your guy D Money. Join us along with Pint Size Patron and ID Yourself
here on Fresh Juice at Rainier Avenue Radio.
Every Wednesday hump day from 9 to 11 Pacific.
Get exclusive interviews from your favorite artists, all the hottest music, and updates on what we got going on in the world.
That's every Wednesday, 9 to 11 p.m. on Seattle's Rainier Avenue Radio.
Support for Rainier Avenue Radio comes from Cascade PBS, presenting season 2 of Out and Back with Allison Mariella Desir. Join Allison as she explores the Pacific Northwest with changemakers who are reclaiming space in the outdoors and creating opportunities for local BIPOC communities to engage with nature and find joy and healing. It's available now on Cascade PBS app and airing on KCTS 9 Thursdays at 8:50 p.m.
Would you like to see when your favorite Rainier Avenue Radio show comes on? Check out our show schedule, updated weekly at rainieravenue.world.
Yeah, I'm over here head bopping. That's right. That's my jam. Welcome back to LidLine Sports right here on Rainier Avenue Radio World. Say what's up. Shout outs. Rhonda Dorsey, Nancy Conyers, Doreen Ng, Michael Carter. Thank you for listening. You guys will always keep us up and hopping with the information that you guys put out on the text. We definitely appreciate the feedback that you guys give to us. We covered the Olympics in the first half of the show, and I really enjoyed that. You had some great things to say, so I want to thank you, Mr. O, for that. I want to get into the NFL. The NFL. Pep is happy that the NFL is back. Yeah. Yeah. Look, all right. I know it's preseason. I know this. We know this. But I'm going to make a Perry Mason, and you guys can be Hamilton Burger case that the preseason actually matters. What do you think?
I mean, I agree. I mean, you're talking about, a sport that is, so high level and so much preparation goes in week to week. These, 3 weeks? They are super important to develop just that camaraderie in the locker room and developing the game plan, being able to read the game plan, the scouting, all that, and just those guys who haven't been there from the rooks and different teams. It's just it's really vital to build all of that. And then, of course, now this year there's new kickoff rules, so that is another thing that you want to now implement into your game plan, and seeing how it looks now in these, what I like to call live scrimmage type of scenarios, where you actually get to do live off a play, not against your own team, and actually hitting. So it's very vital. I think the NFL preseason is very vital. I was, I didn't understand why they, limited, or whether they take your game away a year ago. But I kind of wish that the college football maybe adopts maybe a 1 week of a preseason game or something like that, like how college basketball does. So it's very vital though, and it's been fun to see.
Yes. Now, if you're on the Hamilton Burger side, and Hamilton Burger was the adversary for Perry Mason, right? For us old heads, right? They used to watch the Perry Mason show and whatnot, or read some of the Earl Stanley Gardner books. Which I did. I'll take the Hamilton side for a hot second and saying, yeah, the preseason don't matter, because you got Kansas City, they got smoked by Jacksonville, right? San Francisco lost to who they lose? Oh, Tennessee, who the Seahawks play next, by the way. And so and then you got the Rams, who threw 4 interceptions and they still won the game. So, for that side, it's like, oh, man, it's preseason, man. But I'm going to give you my side, the Perry Mason winning side, and saying it actually does matter. And let me tell you why. Let's focus on the Rainier Avenue Radio's local team, the Seattle Seahawks, for a moment. They played their first game Saturday against the LA Chargers, and they beat the LA Chargers 16-3. And to be honest, they kind of dominated that action. Which is surprising, because the past few seasons, let's say far back as 2019, I can't remember the last time the Seattle Seahawks had a solid preseason game. They were solid in the fact that, number one, they got 3 and outs by the Chargers, like over and over and over. The Chargers didn't get their first down until 5 minutes left in the first half.
Nice.
Okay. When was the last time we've seen that on a Seahawk team? Yeah, you can't. Because what's been the MO of the Seahawks this past few years? MO of the Seahawks has been missed tackles, right? Penalties, right? The offense has been, predictable, correct?
Yes.
So all that. Well, none of that happened Saturday. They didn't miss money tackles. Of course, they weren't perfect, right? They do have some flaws. The read option was not good. Let's put it that way. But hey, that's what the preseason is for, and practice to work on things that you're weak on. So it's nothing to panic over, right? Just because you're weak on the read option. Now every team's going to read option us to death. No, it doesn't work that way. It's not going to happen. The fact that they didn't let the running backs go through the middle like the years past, like water, they stuffed them over and over and over. And here's another thing folks don't realize. Easton Stick for the Chargers, he ain't no first year or second year player. He's a 4 or 5 year veteran. So he's been around. He's been with the Chargers for years. He's their backup, yes, but he's been there. And time the Seahawks played anybody of substance in the NFL, what happened? They got lit up.
Yep.
Didn't do anything in that game. The rookies that came in did nothing. So that's already some encouraging progress right there. Now you're saying, but it's preseason. They all have scrubs planned. Okay, I'll go with that. But here's something to think about.
I hate that, Pep.
I know, me too. But here's
nobody who puts on a professional team's jersey is a scrub. Well, go ahead.
Yes, I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
but you know, you got your starters not playing. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But if your second and third team players are out there following the game plan,
Exactly.
not making a whole bunch of mistakes, that should be encouraging to you. Why? Because, well, if they're doing it, you would think that the starters will follow suit.
Mhm.
And the fact that if a starter goes out, you know the guy coming in that replaces him can perform.
Good
And
point.
that's what you need to be encouraged about.
A good point.
Yeah. So I just dismissed that, oh, it's only preseason, blah, blah. Because I used to think that way. But I've been watching the way that the Seahawks played this game and how they've conducted themselves, and it's totally opposite of what happened in the previous regime. And this is, look, I know it's one game, I get that, but the Chargers are supposed to be pretty good,
Mhm.
right? And Justin Herbert, we know, is supposedly good. Yeah, he didn't play, but our starters didn't play either,
Mhm.
right? And then so the Seahawks went down to LA last year or a year before and smoked them with Herbert. So, you know, don't give me, I don't want to hear that. No Herbert, no this, no that. You play with whoever's out there. And if you're performing, you're performing. And if you suck, then you suck. And they've been sucking for too long. And now we see some performing good habits instead of performance bad habits. And the good habits can carry over to the regular season, just like the bad habits have been carrying over.
And you made another point too with talking about how they played well defensively. Look, we know the Seahawks have a new coach in Mike McDonald, who is a defensive coach.
Yes.
So that is something. I don't care what anybody says, but I don't care if they were playing the New York Giants. When you have a new coach,
beat Detroit.
I know. I
in
seen
preseason.
that.
Okay, let's go.
When you're seeing what you're expecting this new head coach to do, and I know it's just the first preseason game, but when you go and see what his strong points is, and they go out and perform on that end, just like you said, something that the Seahawks have been super inconsistent on over the last couple of years, I will take it. It's a positive plus, and move forward to next week.
And what have we always tired of hearing? It's not how you start, it's how you finish. I'm so tired of that because I'm so tired of being behind straight off the bat. And that's what they were. They were behind all the time. And here's another thing the Seahawks dominated. They dominated this game, by the way. If you look at the stats, they totally dominated this game. And what I'm really happy about is time of possession, because Seattle Seahawks they were the worst time of possession team in the NFL last year. They were the 3-and-out kings, and then they couldn't stop anybody on third down ever. I mean, even second and third string quarterbacks was getting first downs at an alarming rate. It was crazy. But that didn't happen Saturday. So that already tells you there's some change. Look, I'm not expecting them to be okay. So they were like 31-32 in the defense last year, right? I'm not expecting them to be top 10 or 15. If they are, that's awesome. Oh, man, that'd be great. But let's be realistic. Let's try and get up to 20 to 25, middle of the pack. If we can do that, we're going to win more than our fair share of games. And then, you know, anything can happen in the playoffs and beyond. So I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but I'm just saying there's some positive things to look for, and it's already showing up.
Yep. You're hitting right everything on the head. I mean, you said you only get 3 games, and you want to be as ready as possible going into week 1. There's no better way of doing that with live game reps. Okay? There's no better way.
Yep. Michael Carter makes a good point, too. Preseason is very vital for coaches to determine who they will keep and retain practice squad and that kind of thing. So also can help teams to work on their, bad habits, like we mentioned before, in tackling. And look, obviously that's been worked on immensely, because I didn't see, when I watched, because I watched the first half, I didn't see any missed tackles, open field, or anybody missing tackles when the running back or the quarterback was trying to run up the middle. I mean, they were hitting. They were putting some hats on them. So I was like, okay, this is good to see. And like I said, we're talking second and third string people, right? And if they're doing this, can you imagine what your starter is going to be able to do? And then if a starter has to go out, the guy that's replacing him, he's already locked in. So that's what I'm trying to get people to be encouraged about, and stop thinking, oh, it's just preseason or it's just the scrubs and whatnot. Stop that. These guys are players. They're playing for their lives. They're trying to make a living, right? So come on. This is for some of these guys, this is life or death. They got nothing else.
Yep. There's these guys, especially in that third string and fourth and so on, they're literally playing for a job every day. They step
every day.
That's not just the game, that's practice. Every rep matters for these guys.
Yes.
So when they step out there in these preseason games, these are playoff games for them. They're trying to win, and they're trying to perform at their highest level every snap, because just like Pep just said, they are playing for something bigger than just being on the field. Some of them are playing for a check and having to take care of their families. So that's why I can never knock the 53rd man to the 12th guy on the bench for basketball, or to the guy that's on the bench or in the AAA trying to get to the major leagues in baseball. Once you put on that jersey or you are playing a professional sport, I have nothing but respect, because you are one of the best athletes in all of your sport.
That's right. And these cats on the bubble, they might be wearing Seahawk uniforms right now, but they're not playing for the Seahawks. They're not playing to make the Seahawks, some of them. Some of them are just playing to make the NFL, to get themselves on tape, doing good things, right? And so when they get released, because look, some folks know who's going to get released or whatever. They know the deal, but they also know the NFL is a numbers game. So they know they don't fit the number here, but they might fit the number somewhere else, and that's what they're playing for. So if you see a guy that's a third string, second string, whatever, he's not playing for the Seahawks. He's playing for his career in the NFL, wherever it may be.
Pep, you can get a call one moment, and they can say how we appreciate you, everything you've done, but we're going to go in a different direction. And you can get a net call in 2 to 3 hours. We heard you just got released. We want you on our practice team, or, we want to put you on the 53-man roster. It happens just like that. So you just never know. And every snap should matter.
Yeah, and trust me, every team
is watching.
Scouts that once the waiver wire hits, they are out there looking for those guys that they either played against or know somebody who knows somebody, like, oh, you need to bring this guy in. So you can bet when the Seahawks make their cuts, look and see how many of those cuts get picked up. And how fast they get picked up. I'm not saying all of them, but I'm just saying you'll see a few of them. And then, of course, it works the opposite way. The Seahawks going to be, look, there's guys that they had their eye on that they couldn't bring up here now. But trust me, they'll be looking at the waiver wire and looking for that name, and get that name and say, all right, bring him up, practice squad, let's go. Or they'll cut somebody on the 53 and put that guy in. It happens all the time. That first 53 that you guys see, that when we all see the rosters, the first time that the first 53 announced, at least 4 or 5 of those guys that you see ain't gonna be there that week, the next week, because somebody gets cut, and that's the guy that they wanted from before, and now they have a chance to get him.
Good point.
Yeah, absolutely. So, be encouraged, folks. And speaking of encouragement, let's talk about our Seattle Mariners. Now, they put us on a roller coaster last week. You and I both kind of tried to give them the benefit of the doubt, right? We said that, okay, we're not gonna be too negative. We're gonna be positive. We think they're gonna make it. And what do? They dropped 2 out of 3 and should have dropped all 3 to the Detroit Tigers. Thank you, Mitch Haniger, because if it wasn't for his 9th inning with 2 outs, double to drive in 3, we'd have lost that game too, because we were down 3-1 in the 9th, folks. In case you weren't up on it.
Yeah.
Bill Walker Jr., thank you for coming in. What's up, brother? So then of course the weekend hits and they just obliterated. I don't know where this came from, but obviously this is the best series of the season, home or away. They destroyed the Mets 22-1, all 3 games, 6-0 Friday, 4-0 Saturday, 12-1 Sunday, and they were on Sunday Night Baseball for the first time in 20 years. So they
know, right?
They picked the right night to get busy, right? But of course, what happens? The Astros go up to Boston and sweep them. It figures. But you know what? I guess for competition's sake, we got to want this, right? Yeah. We want the best out of the Astros and the Mariners because we want to truly be the one on top. If we win it and win the West, we want it to be legit, do we not? Do we want other teams to start blowing Houston's doors off and the Rangers? Because the Rangers are really slacking too. So, I kind of want this competition because it will get them prepped for the playoffs, should they make it.
Yeah. That Mets series, any AL team that got a chance to watch it or they got to tap in for a little bit, that is what makes you a little nervous to play the Mariners when it matters because
masterclass on pitching.
We always knew that they have the best starting rotation in baseball. But now you saw those bats actually mesh with the pitching for a whole series. Man, and I understand the Mets aren't that good this year, but they're still.
Well, no, actually, the Mets came in red hot.
Okay,
they were actually.
You're right.
7 or 8. They were 8 games over 500 when they showed up. 7 or 8 when they showed up, and they were blowing folks out because they blew out my Yankees.
Yep.
They smoked them in Yankee Stadium.
And I hope that they take that energy and they go back and get their lick back from the Tigers, who they're about to go play.
Yeah.
I know that the Tigers have Tariq Skubal, who is has a really good chance of winning the Cy Young. But the bats have to be ready. I would like another sweep because after Skubal, they don't have anything else. They're not a good offensive team. So regardless what happens tomorrow.
Yeah, we can't make 1-7 guys with 1 loss record into Cy Young. We can't do that. We got to stop that. The Tigers have a good hitting park, let's say.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's known to be, a hitter's paradise, just like Fenway. So we got to do some damage.
So the game that I am excited to see, though, this week, Pep, on Friday, they're in Pittsburgh. They play the Pirates. Who once again, they're a team that's just right under 500. But Paul Skeens will be pitching against Logan Gilbert.
That's a 2-1 game, right?
Yeah.
Written all over it.
Yeah.
And we got to get those 2.
And somehow. I'm hoping, and I know we're not the Dodgers, but I seen the Dodgers get at Paul Skeens last game.
Yeah.
But it would be really, really encouraging to see if the Mariners hitting can get after a guy like Paul Skeens.
Yes.
I know it's just 1 game, but I'm not saying that's going to happen because, man, I've watched this guy a couple times. He's the real deal, Pep. But it's just good, just like you keep saying. Just like you said about the Astros and them now us having to compete every game. There's no taking nights off. It's good that they get to see the elite pitchers in Skubal and Skeens because once it gets to the playoffs,
that's all you're going to see.
That's all it is. So these guys, whatever, if that's what, I don't know what it is with the Mariners, but if that's what it is that gets them to just wake all the way up knowing that they have to play for something and night in, I'll take it. Because like I said, Pep, all the Mariners have to do is get there, and I told you, I think that they can beat anybody in the American League. We got good news yesterday, even though he didn't hit well. Julio's back. He DH'd.
Real quick, here's what I don't like. I don't like the fact that they put him in the lineup right away. I think they should have sent him to Tacoma, let him get some at-bats in, right?
Okay.
Get some kind of groove going, and then bring him back. To put him out there, and then he's out there against Severino. Come on, man. Severino's a good pitcher.
Yeah, he is.
Come on, man. You kind of did him dirty, I think.
What I didn't like is what's been going on is those first 4 or 5 guys have been hitting the ball pretty well. Yeah. Why is Julio batting fourth? I get it. Out of those guys, besides Cal Raleigh, he has the most pop out of Rays and Robles. But he already wasn't hitting that well before he had got hurt. He had started to slow down again. And then, like I said, he comes out. We already know that Julio is overly aggressive. 5 strikeouts.
5 at bats, 5 Ks. Come on, man.
I would have took the pressure off.
That's my point. That he should have went to Tacoma.
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Listen, we were fine without him as far as against the Mets. We didn't need him yesterday, right? Obviously, because he didn't do nothing, right? So should have sent him to Tacoma, get some at bats, then come Thursday in Pittsburgh, bring him back up. Yeah, he's gonna have to face Skeens and all that. So that's what you should have done, or even the last game in Tiger Stadium, because, like I said, it's a hitter's park, right? So come on, man. This is not rocket science. Some of these decisions that they make baffle me. I really, look, I'm just a regular guy, just like you, right? I'm not saying I know it all, but listen, I'm 60 some odd years old. So I've been watching for a long time. So when you watch something for a long time, or if you're in school for 8 years to be a doctor, you're going to know things. I like to think that I've learned and I know stuff. That's why I'm sitting here, right? I'm not saying I know it all, or know any more than anybody out there. Please don't think that, because I don't. But I just happen to share my knowledge because I'm able to.
And for me, yes, I get it that everybody has dubbed Julio the next young star, or one of the next young stars. This ain't about Julio right now. We are in an important pennant race to win the AL West, and he has to get in where he fits in until he figures it out. Because, like I said, Robles is hitting well. Randy Arozarena is hitting well. Kyle Rally's popping off home runs right now. Polanco's even hitting well right now.
Yes. Look.
Yeah.
Did you see that web gem?
Yeah, that was nice. What are you talking about? The Arozarena, the double play?
The double play from Polanco.
Yeah.
The backhand.
Yeah, that was nice.
Oh.
Or even the dive from Arozarena.
I owe him a huge apology, man, because I was saying, maybe Dylan Moore or somebody else.
You had every right to do that, but these guys are waking up. So this isn't just about Julio and you trying to rev up his engine so he can fit in. If he ain't gonna be able to fit in, I don't know if it's the platoon him, and because I don't exactly where is he gonna be when he does come back. I'm certain when he does become fully 100% healthy, he'll be back in the outfield. Who are you taking out? You're not taking out Robles, and you're not taking out Arozarena.
And the good thing about Robles, they signed him to an extension today.
Yes, very rightfully owned. 2 years, just under $10 million. He deserved every bit of it. So I'm just interested on where Rodriguez is going to be played at on a consistent basis.
Hey, look, there's some other decisions we got to make too. That's kind of a good problem to have. I mean, once JP gets healthy, where's he going to fit in, right? And then of course, look, you're going to be looking at trades in the off season. There's no definite. And of course, Turner probably won't be back, right? So you're gonna have to replace him, and then so and of course Garver will definitely not be here. So there's some more room for encouragement for next season if this season doesn't turn out the way we hope.
Yes, but as of right now, like I said, these next 3 series they for sure need to beat the Tigers and the Pirates in the series, but right after that, middle of August, you got the Dodgers in LA. I'm not going to. If they win that series, great. That means I know they're ready to play a high level of baseball.
Yes.
If they don't, it can't be a sweep. They need to get one. I know the Dodgers are really good.
Right now, they just need to win every series. It's a must. We can't ask for sweeps. I mean, we can ask for them, but we're not getting sweeps every series, right? And we just got to win all of them. We just have to.
Half a game pass, but also
look, Houston's not going away. We know this.
They're not. But I did see something. It is another avenue. We are only 2.5 games out of the wild card, if so be. So they just got to, just like you said, keep.
And that's the good news of the Red Sox being swept, right? That actually helped us as far as even if we end up having to try and fight for the wild card.
Yep.
Well, we got to pump the brakes on this one. We're done. I want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you, Daniel. Thanks, O. You guys are always dope. Bill Walker Jr., Nancy, Rhonda Dorsey, Michael Carter, everybody listening. Thank you. We will be back next week. So don't go away. Next week we'll be back. LidLine Sports.
Yes, sir.